Hi class, in this video I'll work through a couple homework questions from section 7.2. This is multiplying and dividing rational expressions. Okay, take a look at this first problem. It says multiply and simplify. We have talked about that when you multiply rational expressions, it's as if you're just combining the two separate fractions into one large rational expression. Another thing we talked about in class, or perhaps you've seen a few videos, is to reverse the order of those instructions, to simplify first and then multiply. And that's what I'm going to show you on this video. Looking at the numerator, there's the factor 8x squared. When you simplify that with the denominator factor of 16x, you're left with a 2 in the denominator and x in the numerator. Next, we can simplify the 9 with a 3, and that leaves a 1 and a 3. Now we have much easier numbers to multiply by. We have x times 3 in the numerator, which is 3x, over 1 times 2, which is 2 in the denominator, and that's your final answer. Okay, so let's try that again. Instructions are the same, multiply and simplify. I want you to notice that this example has parentheses around both fractions, and that's okay. We can work it exactly the way we just worked the previous problem. When you're multiplying fractions, you can combine them to one larger fraction. Negative 10 times negative 3t squared is the numerator. T to the 7th times 25t is the denominator. And do you see how both of these fractions were negative? I just included the negative sign with both of the numerator values. Before you multiply, I want to simplify this first. 10 and 25 can both be simplified by 5. That leaves a 2 and a 5. T to the 7th can be simplified with t squared, leaving t to the 5th in the denominator. So now the numerator has negative 2 times negative 3, which is positive 6. The denominator has t to the 5th times 5t, which is 5t to the 6th, and that's your final answer. Okay, let's try that again. The instructions are the same, multiply and simplify. I encourage you to do the same that we've been doing, to write this problem as one fraction. This is 3x times 9 minus x. Make sure you keep the 9 minus x in a set of parentheses. The denominator is 5x minus 45, and you can see the 9 minus x would have a denominator of a 1, but we don't have to rewrite that part in the problem. So as the problem is right now, there's nothing that we can simplify. I want you to see if there's anything you can factor. So for example, there's a 5 in common here in the denominator, so this would be 5 times x minus 9. And do you notice that this x minus 9 is almost the same as 9 minus x, except the signs are opposite? Anytime you have a factor that seems backwards, you can factor out a negative 1, and that will change the signs. When you pull a negative 1 out, this will be negative 9 plus x. But do you see how it still looks backwards? All you need to do is put this in descending order. It would be negative 1 x minus 9. Constants need to go last. So let me rewrite what we have now. The numerator is 3x times negative 1 times x minus 9 over 5 times x minus 9. Now you can see that the factor x minus 9 is what they have in common. We'll multiply the numerator. 3x times negative 1 is negative 3x over 5, and that's your final answer. Okay, now we're getting to some division problems. The instructions say to divide and simplify. While we were in class, I gave you specific instructions of how we're going to divide rational expressions, which is not dividing at all. We are going to rewrite all division problems by multiplying the reciprocal. That means the first fraction stays the same, z minus 4 over z squared. The division sign changes to multiplication, and the reciprocal of z minus 4 over z plus 6 is that those two binomials switch places to be z plus 6 over z minus 4. And now we'll follow regular multiplying rules. We'll write this into one fraction. This is z minus 4 times z plus 6 over z squared times z minus 4. You can see the common terms of z minus 4, leaving us with a final answer of z plus 6 over z squared. Now, even though there's a z in the numerator and the denominator, you cannot cancel those two because the numerator, the z, is connected with the positive 6. They make up one factor, and the factor in the bottom is not a z plus 6, and so this is your final answer. Okay, so let's try that again. We are going to divide and simplify. The first fraction will stay the same. As I rewrite the first fraction, I'm going to go ahead and write the numerator in a factored form. This will be x minus 9 times x plus 2 times x minus 2. And when we multiply, currently the denominator is 1, so the numerator will be 1. The current numerator is x minus 2 quantity squared. That will move to the denominator, and I'm going to go ahead and factor that expression to be x minus 2 times x minus 2. From here, there's only one common factor, which is x minus 2, so those can cross out. And we'll go ahead and build our final answer. The numerator is x minus 9 times 1, which is just x minus 9. You can drop the parentheses off. The denominator is x plus 9 times x minus 2. It is okay to leave them as separate factors, or you could multiply them out if you want to, but WebAssign will take the answer in this format. So the final answer is x minus 9 over x plus 9 times x minus 2. Okay guys, that's all for this video. Please let me know if you have any questions on this homework assignment.